having a moment here. I don't press record and then just sit there awkwardly and say nothing. Yeah. I'm here with my cat. Isn't she cute? Isn't she cute? Yeah. Anyway. I have to tilt this so that the mic doesn't get covered. Okay. Oh my god, it's like, right, that's why I'm like, I hate. Like, am I even gonna say this stuff out loud? Of course I am. How can you be talking about one person for 25 years of your life and still trying to understand what the fuck happened? And still trying to understand what the fuck happened. That's trauma for you. That's what they say anyways. Oh my god, we were hanging out. We were hanging out a lot as friends. And we would often leave his wife at home and go out ourselves. And oh my god, like, I haven't thought about this in so fucking long. Like, I literally don't think I've thought about this hardly for at least 20 years. But we would go play pool. And I remember at this point in my life, even though I was like completely lost about what to do with my life because I had graduated, like completely lost. But I was feeling really good about myself in many ways. And I had a couple like just wonderful years of finding my values, finding myself, finding this very like feminist kind of community and like in the like HIV/AIDS world where I was working. I thrived. And so I was just really enjoying life in many ways. And definitely I was like, I had moments of stress in Greece and was like, what the hell am I doing? I remember I was trying to figure out a place to live and a place to work, and like I didn't know anybody, and I stayed with this one girl. She was from England or Ireland, I can't even remember now. And we were both trying to figure it out, and I just remember feeling like a lot of anxiety. And I'm driving in the Jeep with her to the place because we got picked up at the ferry, and just being really anxious. And then we got along, and so we kept hanging out, and we were both looking for work together because we were doing the same thing. And I definitely had moments at the job where my anxiety was really high, and I remember I would call home and be like, okay, don't freak them out. So there's always been a part of me that's been like, just stuff your feelings, especially your anxiety, just stuff it down. Don't talk about it because that'll make it worse. If I tell my mom, she'll just, I don't know, why didn't I? Because she would just like try and fix it instead of trying to help me. Probably. That's probably the real answer. And, but I met a lot of people. Oh my God, I had a lot of fun. I remember this one guy came into the restaurant and like there would just be like guys constantly, I mean more or less constantly, like just always guys around, flirting, whatever, all that stuff was just like ever present, right? And there's one guy. I mean, it's kind of like you have banter, but you also feel like they're really annoying, like on some level. And And then at one point we're like walking down the like boulevard or whatever, chatting, and there's another girl. I remember I held her slice of pizza. I held her slice of pizza while she was doing something, like some sort of street performing something. And she spoke to me in Greek, and I spoke back in Greek, and he was like, oh my God. And I just loved the sense of, like, you're so not worth it for me to even explain. like not in a, that probably sounds really bad, but actually felt really good. It felt really like powerful to not give away my power. I'm like, I have no reason to like tell you my life story. Like, maybe he was expecting that in some way. He was expecting women like that, and I was not doing that. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And I just like, oh God, it tickled me pink. It tickled me pink. Anyways, I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. Even though I had a lot of stress, I also had a ton of fun. And when that world shut down, because the island shut down, I was like shocked. I'm like, what? Yeah, they're like a ghost town before tourist season. And I just had no idea. I wasn't actually familiar with Greece. Like, shock. Oh, the shock of it all. And I lost all of that. Connections, people to talk to, guys to flirt with, guys to like, friends to make. I made such good friends there. And oh, it was so stressful at times. I didn't know what to deal with this, like, verbally abusive boss. Like, you think I knew how to deal with that? I definitely did not know how to deal with that. Oh my God, I remember the Irish girl, and he was doing the same thing to her, and she just started crying, and she left after like 3 days. And so I felt like the strong person for, it wasn't like bringing me to my knees. It was definitely frustrating and stressful and all of that, but I wasn't like feeling like I needed to go back to Canada. And there were a lot of these kinds of moments where, yeah, this other girl, there was actually 3 of us hanging out, a Swedish girl, and her boss was harassing her, like sexually. He just kept making advances, and she would come and tell us these stories, and we'd be like, oh my God, like, and I think from the feminist stuff that I had like learned and realized, I was just like, why is she putting up with this? Oh my God, like, tell that fucker to fuck off and leave. So there were times. In fact, I feel like, yeah, in some ways I did really well. And anyway, so I left that. And in Athens, my whole life was Riga and his wife and his daughter and their friends. Like, I had nothing of my own. No connections, no social support of my own. And he would tell me things like he and his wife were just like friends. And actually, when so she was visiting her family. God, I haven't gone into these details in so long. She was visiting her family on one of the islands, like lots of Greek families do. They go back to, like, kind of like the island of their heritage. And which she had done. She was with her family, or her mom, I can't remember, her parents. And while he picked me up, because he had offered to let me stay there after the islands. So I did. I took him up. And man, so many stories. I have like a whole head full of stories. And all right. And they had actually, I think, at least he told me, I don't even know, is this a lie or is this the truth? But I got the feeling it was true, that they had broken up while she was away, and then, but had reconciled. You know, he told me that, and now in this moment I'm saying it out loud. I'm like, that definitely could have been a lie. That definitely could have been a lie. I was not used to, like, honestly, this is, like, when I stayed there longer, you learn the culture. And I learned that cheating husbands are quite common. And I would say it's like socially kind of acceptable. And coming from here, I'm not saying people don't cheat. People do cheat, but I wouldn't say it's socially acceptable. And it's much more done on the down low. It's much more brazen over there. And so I was not, you know, because like for a Greek woman or anyone growing up in that culture would have understood that was probably a lie. And I did not have that frame of reference. I'm saying I didn't know guys were lying at times, of course. But it was never in that kind of a situation where, I don't know, where I trusted somebody, right? But then why did I trust him? He was trustworthy in other ways. I mean, and this is where my confusion lies. I'm like, part of me is just like, why did I believe those things? Part of me is like, I've convinced myself that I actually knew he was lying. And so therefore it's my fault. All of it. But I'm like, I didn't know he was lying. I didn't know he was lying. It's like I'm trying to decide. I'm trying to go back in time. Did I know he was lying? Because he would say other things. I remember one night I wanted to go for a walk, and I used to love doing this. I would just walk around by myself at night, like at like midnight. Just walk down the street. I wouldn't go very like super far, but like, oh my God, young and stupid. I also did that when I was 18, when I was in Greece for the first time. I would totally wander around at night and talk to like just the randomest people. I wouldn't do that now to save my life. Anyways, and one night I remember he was like, oh, I should just call that woman, blah, blah, blah. And he was all like pissed off. And he was also seeming like, I was like, is he trying to make me jealous? Because I don't feel that way at all. And I thought it was kind of strange. But I didn't put too much on it. I was like, okay, whatever. That was fucking weird. And just kind of forgot about it, you know? Looking back, he put the pieces together. And he would say, oh God, I remember we used to have like a lot of chats about our life, because I would talk about my frustrations. I'm like, oh my God, can't find a job, can't find an apartment. I thought it was gonna be so easy, because we'd stay up late at night, we'd have a glass of wine, and like you'd really like open up about your life. I did, as did he. And he would talk about his marriage a lot, and he would talk about how unhappy he was and how unhappy with his life he was. Oh, and also he used to have money, and now, and this, I think it's genuine, he genuinely felt like his life was shit because he wasn't rich now. Meanwhile, I had already heard that he was stealing money, and that's why he lost it all. But he didn't mention that part to me. And had said that they were more like brother and sister. And it's only now that I'm thinking of remembering these things. Because, you know what? And I had such weird things he would do, right? This one time, oh God, we were just sitting on the couch, and I actually can see it. It's like one of these like vivid memories where something happens and you can see where. And I think I had a notebook in front of me, and I was writing something, and we were on the couch, and like I guess the notebook was kind of like in between us. And he said something, he's like, and he's like talking about this amazing sex he had with his wife, and and like nothing wrong with that, but I was really uncomfortable. I was like, hey, why are you telling me? Like, this is fucking weird. I don't want to know about your sex life. Like, imagine if you're just like, it's like, okay, with friends, you can talk about with your friends about your sex with your partner, or you might bring up things or like frustrations or somebody you hooked up with or whatever. But this was more like, hey, we didn't talk about that kind of stuff. He was my second cousin, still is. And B, I was like, what? Oh, you guys are having sex? I remember thinking that, like, I thought you weren't having sex. And like, oh my God, I feel like I wish I could go back in time, because I genuinely don't know if I'm remembering it correctly. Because right now, and for years, it's been very clear that he's fucking lying to me. So why am I still questioning if I was to blame for me being sexual with him? Or was he actually grooming me? Because not clear in my head. Not clear, which makes sense. I'm like, I carry around all this shame about my sexuality. Do you know how much shame I feel? The moments that I play in my head. After we had fooled around, being at the kitchen table with her as we would eat lunch together. I mean, I didn't have a job, and she would come home with a kid and have lunch and then go back, take her back to school. And this one time, I can see it here too. It's just me and her, and Riga and I have already fooled around. And I had never really had anxiety attacks growing up. I did have moments of like really strong anxiety, which maybe they were, but because they weren't repetitive, I didn't identify them as such. You know, I remember one time going to gymnastics with my dad. I was really anxious. I didn't know anybody there. I remember at the time when my body was changing, and I think I felt some level of social anxiety for about 4 weeks, and then it just went away. And I remember giving a class presentation and being like, I couldn't remember the name of the person I was presenting on because I was so anxious. So I definitely had moments like that. And it was kind of, well, we didn't talk openly about our feelings, so I just thought that was normal. Oh my God, I got totally off track. What was I talking about? Like whether or not I believed Rita's lies. Because, yeah, the answer to that is going to determine if I feel guilty or not. And I bounce around. I'm like, one minute I'll be like, oh yeah, he was lying to me, and like it's so obvious and blah, blah, blah. And then the next minute I'll be like, oh, but I knew he was. Oh, I knew he was lying to me. Oh, how did I know? I don't think I knew. Right now I feel like I have this like brief moment of clarity where I'm like, I believed him. That is why it was surprising when he was telling me things like this. And I was like, oh my God, he's been lying to me. Like, and it was shocking. And I was just like, oh my fucking God, he's been lying to me. And I had already done shit then. And obviously it was a giant fucking mistake. And I let him be sexual with me, meaning I didn't touch him, I didn't kiss him, I didn't see him naked. It's more like because he had these constant advances and eyes on me. And I was young and stupid. Okay, maybe not young and stupid, but I was naive. And I think most of my life was like, honestly, I had so much fun in my life. I just like, I didn't think it would be a big deal. I really didn't. I thought I'd be like, oh, this would be this one stupid thing I did. I'm not really hurting anyone because they're not really. I guess that's how I justified it to myself. I definitely justified it because they're not really together, you know. They're gonna end. And but then when I was like, actually, I totally forgot. What was I gonna say? I'm at 20 minutes. Maybe I'll just stop this for here. I actually feel like I said really important things that actually have been deeply in my mind, and go to the crux of the issue and what I went through, because I do believe the shame that I carry around from doing that, because I'm telling myself, oh, I know I was lying, and so I went into it willingly, like it was my idea. I don't think it was ever my idea. I definitely went along with it. I put my head on his leg. I technically made on the outside, which would just seem like the advance, but he had done it dozens and dozens and dozens of times. Put a message in my head for me, specifically for me. And like, it's no point getting mad at him. I just want to understand myself and where I am hung up on certain emotions and where I'm repeating patterns. Okay, I'm going to stop and start a new one.